Good morning. Oh, I look so pretty. I'm gonna see who's awake with me this morning on Saturday. I know Naomi is over there talking in her sleep right now. Dreary, cold morning. The dog bowl water was frozen, and Nye was not thrilled about going out, but Faith and I were up so he could get her off to basketball. Good morning, JR. Hey, Sid. I started going live in the page, like I mentioned last week I was gonna do, and for some reason it's not catching anybody up and was giving me all kinds of weird messages. So I thought I'd get on here and see where everyone's watching from, who's awake. Sid's awake. Of course you are, Sid. I know you're out there working. Actually, your family's down, aren't they? Hopefully you guys are getting well quickly and in this crazy world that we're living in right now. I was super excited to be able to see the kids back to getting to their basketball practices, and we're praying that we're going to be able to see the season this year, especially since it's Carter's senior year. I would love to be able to have a normal season come play out. And it makes my heart sad that that may not be a possibility looking at all the crazy news, but trying to stay off of that stuff. But hopefully you guys are doing well. Oh, you just got back from the hospital? Oh my goodness. JR. Hey Nina. Hey Maria. I'm just gonna, because that my Jen Furness Heart to Heart with Jen page was not working this morning for some reason, I'm gonna just record this and then share it to that page so we can start catching up in that group and sharing. Hey Maria, so you guys are gonna have grace, because guess what? The reason why I was creating that separate page is because it's going to be a page that's going to be au natural, and you guys get to have us not all dressed up and makeup up and things like that. So hey Renee, hey Kathy, hey Karen, how's it going? As you guys can see right over my shoulder here, there is a Christmas ornament. Faith was busy at work last night, and I'm gonna share that later on today, but lots of festivities up here. I'll turn this around in my little nook here. There's our nativity scene. Good Lord, how many of you guys have kids who love to organize and are neat freaks? And yes, Nina. And she is just, you know, everything. I'm not in that area. She's very organized and a neat freak and loves to be able to decorate. And so I'm hoping that God's going to cultivate that in her life and help her to see what gifts that she's going to share with the world. And kind of goes into what I wanted to talk about today with you guys, that will hopefully take your mind off of all the stuff going out in the world. And it really was impactful to me. Again, of course, you guys know that in the mornings I get up and I have some quiet time and then read my devotionals. And today it was talking about Turning Point. If you're not following David Jeremiah or getting his daily devotionals, please get on there and get that. It's I think under just davidjeremiah.org. And the messages that he was giving, and so perfect timing, of course, that's how God works, but being able to see how God is helping people discover their presence and purpose for tomorrow. And wow, we all need that kind of hope, right? Hey Kathy, how's it going? Hey Karen. Yeah, let me know where you're watching from. I would love to hear from you all. And anyway, so I was kind of just sharing a little bit about this message, and I think it's so impactful and perfect for today, since things are, you know, you don't have to go very far before you hear stuff about the uncertainty and the you know, stress and just things that people are going through. I was just having breakfast with the kids yesterday, and Kim, my sister-in-law, and the restaurant was saying that they were getting ready to the possibility of closing. So 2 restaurants right across the street were going to be closing, and because they haven't been able to survive all the crazy chaos going on. And you did, Karen, you got to see David Jeremiah in person. That's so awesome. Hey, Rose, Alabama, I'm so jealous. Thank you. Keep those videos coming of the ocean. It's so relaxing and calming. But anyway, so he was talking about just basically about in this the restaurant. So she was saying that if we have to have a close down one more time, that we are probably not going to make it, and it's just so heartbreaking. And I know that, I believe with all my heart that God's working in this, despite the fact of all this uncertainty and things that are so clamorous around us. But this book couldn't have come at a more perfect time, and I actually got it. I'm embarrassed to say I got it a couple months ago, and I haven't had a chance to put my hands on it and look more. But then I was just reading through this devotional, which I just mentioned earlier, that I think everybody should get. I mean, it's literally for a gift of any amount. I mean, you could give like $10 and they'll start sending you this devotional every day. But he was talking about this book and some of the messages that are in it. And the one that he was talking about this morning was literally about, he called it the 6 UNs, UN. Let me know if any of you guys have ever had any kind of areas in your mind or your life where you're having worries and concerns about something being unimaginable or undeniable or unbelievable, and all these things that seem like they should be negative things. But when he was talking in this article, it was really, really cool to see all the things that God is doing in the things that we believe are all those uns. And I won't like make you go into let me reading you this entire article, but there was some pretty cool things in here, and I don't know. I love history. I love reading about it and learning, and maybe the kids not so much. But hey, Tiffany, good to see you. Hey, Shar. So he was talking about the Wright brothers, and I don't know. Let me know. Do you guys love history? Do you love learning about these kinds of things? And I know that we learned about it in school when we were, junior high or high school, but we don't spend a lot of time learning new history. Well, most of us. Some of you out there might embarrass me and say that you love reading about history. But he was talking about if you could travel back to the sandy, windswept beaches of Kitty Hawk, North Carolina, and told the Wright brothers that their primitive, awkward biplane, which they flew for a few hundred feet and stayed aloft for mere seconds, would lead to a thunderous rocket taking men to the moon, what do you think they would have said? How unimaginable, right? And that really struck me today because, when I think about looking, of course, at the things that are going on right now that are unimaginable and things that make all of us uncertain. And I thought, that back then in those days, and he goes over lots of different things that other people have done, of course, obviously with flying to the moon and that kind of thing. But I thought it was just so intriguing to me about how easy it is to have doubt about the simple steps that we take every single day to, step forward into what it is that might be something that we could do to change the world or impact the world. And, I don't really care what profession you come from, or if you're a professional mama and taking care of your home, or whether you're, the president of the United States. The simple things that we do every day, we have no idea what kind of echo or what kind of impact, that we will have in the world, 10 years, 100 years, whatever from now, about the beautiful impact that we can have. And it just really brought back to my mind about, how easy it is for us during these times that we start doubting and thinking that, how can simple little old me, unshowered in my sweatshirt sitting at my table, could have an impact on the world. And I want you, like myself, to start imagining what it could be to help other people, whether it's people that are in your circle right there in your house, or whether it's people that are in your workplace, or people that are in the world that maybe you haven't even met yet that are watching a Facebook Live, I don't know, that what you do and stepping out in faith and doing something that other people feel maybe is even crazy or, really unrealistic or silly that you're even doing this XYZ, and then how you could just step into that and be able to give them more belief in what they're doing. And that means, of course, obviously when you step into something new, and even doing a Facebook Live or stepping into something new, maybe it's a new job, maybe it's a new business or whatever it might be. But the things that they had done in history and times and days past, and what kind of impact they have had on all of us moving into today, How incredible is that, you guys? It's just so, yeah, Karen, it's normal and mundane things that we think are normal and mundane, and yet look at the incredible impact that, you know, the Wright brothers and John F. Kennedy and using NASA and all these things. I'm just blown away that here he says, belief, faith, and assurance and trust that to do what is required of us, meaning the simple steps each day that could impact other people in our lives. And, you know, I'm a mom, and I just know that even the things that I'm doing that I feel like they're ignoring me. How many of you guys have your kids who you think are ignoring everything that you're doing and saying, and yet my prayer is that even despite the fact that it may appear to not be paying attention, that they'll someday be able to look back and see that I wanted to be a person who had belief, who could step out in faith and do something that they were afraid to do, maybe even that other people thought was ridiculous, and help them to see that it's possible to have impact far, far beyond what your life and your years may produce. And so one of the things he said in here that was, you know, I don't know, that I really thought was really cool is not even asking the question about, you know, what do I think that God could possibly do with my life, is one of the questions that we may want to ask instead is, what do we think is impossible for God to do in our lives? Think about that, you guys. Instead of saying, you know, what could God possibly do with my life? Turn it around and ask yourself, what do we think is impossible for God to do in our lives? That struck me. I'm just like, wow, I you know, instead of thinking about what can you do with my life, but what do I think is impossible for him to do, which is nothing. I know that for a fact. I know what he's done in these last almost 50 years, and I know that it's possible for him to do anything with my life and your life. And you know, I would love to hear from you guys. I want you to post in here. What have you ever done, number one, that you stepped out in faith and did something that was absolutely crazy, or things that you thought that, you know, people might think you were crazy, that turned out, oh my goodness, this is what happened, and God turned this little bitty mustard seed of faith into this thing that has been created or come to fruition in my life. Whether it's, I don't know, maybe it could be something very, very simple in your household. It could be something else that you did that was a business that was amazing. And for me, the incredible platform that I've been able to feel so blessed to be able to reach and meet so many people I never could have met any other way. That for sure is one thing. But also, what is it that, you know, maybe in my household, you know, again, same for the kids, you know, being able to do things and say things and believe things that later on that I hope that will bear fruit. But he said on here, you know, only fear and unbelief can prevent us from gaining new ground, from experiencing the undeniable presence and the unbelievable power of the Holy Spirit. And you know, for me, I'm definitely a woman of faith, and even if you aren't, it's like what we have, the power that is within us is absolutely, for me, one of the things that I need to really, really hone in on in definitely the rest of 2020. Good Lord, and this has been a tumultuous year, but I know without a doubt in my heart that even this year, as crazy and chaotic as things have been, that I believe that we're going to look back on this in 2021 and beyond and see all the things that God has done to bear fruit in our lives. And that means just like, you know, whether it's in our household with kids or grandkids, nieces and nephews, or whether it's stuff in our businesses or our relationships even, that are being able to hang on in faith and know that God's doing something, as opposed to losing hope and being disheartened and really down. What kind of impact that has when you look at both of those spectrums. And so my hope for you guys is that, oh my goodness, Shell, that's so great. I drove across Ireland by myself so I could be quiet and listen to what my heart and God had for me. That is so incredibly beautiful. And Kim Furness, if you're watching this, we're absolutely doing this. Look at me, Shar, I'm already talking about who's going to go with me. But, you know, with that, Shar, I want you to expand on that later on in this message or with me later, because I would love to know, when you guys share those kinds of things with here or with people, you give other people hope. And that's my hope for these messages, is honestly that it gives you hope for a better future, or even a better belief that things are possible that you never imagined before. So I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that. Yes, Deb, absolutely. It doesn't matter what's going on around us. God is still on the throne, and that is what also gives me hope, that helps me to not go down the quagmire of and the rabbit hole of, what next, or what's, what is focusing on the negative things. It's terrible. And I've learned this from many, many mentors over time in my business, that what we focus on, we find, and what we focus on grows, and what we focus on becomes real, and what we focus on, we become. And so whatever you're focusing on today, guys, I pray for you that you will remember this article or get it yourself, davidjeremiah.org, and get this devotional. It's like, for pennies on the dollar for what it costs to create it. But the messages in here are so powerful. And his message, this book, and Shar, especially if you're trying to discover God's presence and purpose for tomorrow, I cannot wait to dig into this. And because it doesn't really matter what life stage you're in, that, there's still work for us to be done. There's still work for us to be doing, and dreams to be had, and all these kinds of things. And so think on that today, guys. I hope that is as impactful to you as it is for me, but not allowing fear and unbelief to prevent us from gaining new ground. Guys, what could be more impactful a message today than that? Fear and unbelief, do not let that keep you from stepping in and gaining new ground. Gosh, let's do that. Anybody else want to do that? Say amen. All right, guys. Thank you so much for jumping on here. I hate to make these too long, but I hope that as I'm learning and growing, that you guys will learn and grow with me too. Follow my page, even though it wasn't working today. Heart to Heart with Jen. I'll post the link in here, but I really, really hope that as God continues to work through all these chaotic times, that he still continues to grow us as well. All right. Love you guys. Talk to you soon. Bye.